Good evening. This is Rodney with the Triton Wave Market Outlook for Monday, March 11th, 2013. All right, so the first thing I wanted to show you, the last update was last Sunday, and I just wanted to show you that on the 21, I'm sorry, on the daily chart on the right-hand side on the S&Ps, it looks like everything's kind of moving along fairly smoothly. We have a move down here and a move up here, and these peaks are actually all about equal as this moves up higher and higher and higher. And there's nothing to indicate any changes on the longer waves, except there is a non-confirmation between this peak right here and between this peak and this peak, but there is a confirmation here. So it could head a little bit higher, but what I'm looking at right now is this one over here, this massive move to the upside. Okay, if we look at the weekly on the left-hand side, these are all higher and higher peaks, but these two peaks. This one is a confirmation of this one moving out up, and so is from this peak to this peak. However, the third peak, which is reaching for a new high on the S&P and has already taken out the highs on the Dow, so actually the futures are saying something a little bit different than the actual cash price on the Dow. So this movement right here is definitely on the short wave, which can be considered a trading wave, is definitely a non-confirmation on this last peak. So it may take a couple days to play out, it may take another week to play out, but a non-confirmation is definitely a very, very negative sign, and I would point you out in this direction here. This was a peak, this was a confirmation peak right here, and this was a non-confirmation peak right here, and you can see what happens. Boom, straight down. And I'm not saying that it's going to go down like it did in 2008, 2009, but at least we should come down and test some of these numbers like let me see here. We should at least come down and start. Well, if we draw a line here, okay. So even if it comes down to 1413, which is, you know, it's over 1,000 points away, and it's 130 S&P points away, we can still be considered in an uptrend unless this actually goes below zero, and then it's key by the door. So just be careful. Watch this. I know all you guys are buying the dip, and it's been working for you. When it doesn't work, it's really not going to work. So you have to basically, as they say, cover your ass. So one of the validating points that I want to bring up is usually when everything is working well, this chart on the right-hand side is the Euro mini contract, and on the left-hand side is our favorite S&P mini contract. So the S&P minis, let me get an arrow in here. Okay, so when the S&Ps move up, whoops, what happened to my arrow here? Wait a minute. Okay, when the S&Ps cross on T1 and then on T2, they're basically doing the same thing. You just have to follow my cursor. I can't use the cursor and the arrows at the same time. But on T2 they cross below here, and they're crossing. They're kind of going sideways when they cross, and it gives you heads up by like 5 or 6 or 7 trading days. But on the euro seems to be like right absolutely in sync here on, let me get an arrow in here, right at the point of inflection, when this goes down, you get the euro going down and the S&P goes from sideways to absolute down. It goes here when this moves up, same thing. This is like a mini move down. But right now, what I'm concerned about is not only is T1 down, but for the first time since September, let me see, how long goes this? For the first time since August 27th, 2012, when this went up, that's the first, it's now minus 0.001 on the trading starting Sunday and last Friday. Okay, and this has gone down, and that's the first time since about that same time frame. So if you're looking for a coordination or a justification to lighten up your general stock market holdings or the S&P, and if you're following a synchronization between the euro and the S&Ps, this looks like it wants to head down either to the 1250 area or down to the 1200 to try these lows out right here, which, if you're following this closely, should actually start bringing it down. And I'm thinking to 1376, which is 25, 75, about 70 points from here. Now, this could actually happen very quickly. I know I've been saying this. This is an old story. Buying the dips when it doesn't work, don't get killed, because it's just going to rotate the other way, and then you buy the rallies. I mean, you sell the rallies instead of buying the dips. Okay, in concert with this information, last week I talked about how Italy is in really serious financial trouble, and they don't really have a majority in their parliament to set policy. This week, I found out that there's a lot of weakness in the Eurozone with France. France is noticeably weaker, growing at a slower rate than the rest of the Eurozone, which we're going to include all the high flyers like Germany, Spain, Switzerland, and Italy. So Greece is already a problem, has been a problem. Italy is now a problem that nobody seems to want to deal with, and France is now a problem. And if you hold on, I will pull up a graph for you. Okay, I think you can see this pretty clearly. This is a chart of what's going on with the French economic growth and PMI. And if we scroll, actually that's the growth right now, the last quarter. And this is the purchasing management index, and you can see that this is really just basically going to pot. So this is what you don't hear on CNBC or any of the news broadcasts or Fox, because they really don't want you to know what's going on. But we already saw examples of the euro moving down. Right in here, and going below zero on T2 and T3 on the daily, which is a very, very real sell signal that I believe in the very near future is going to drag this down. All right, let's move on to something else. All right, let's take a look at Apple, my favorite stock to analyze. I'm still not convinced that it is any kind of a buy signal in here. On the daily chart on the left-hand side, we see every single wave below zero. We do see this trying to pop up a little bit above the 8-period moving average, and it may pop up to the 21. If it does, and we're lucky enough to get up to 459, that would be sell on the, or this would be a sell on the rally. Instead of buying on the dip, like everybody has been on the S&P and in Google, this would be selling the rally up to either 445. If you're lucky enough to get 459, that's great, because it would put you right in this ballpark right in here. And I doubt whether it's going to come up all the way up to 485 to fill this gap, but you never know. So right now, kind of in a neutral stance on that. But if you look at this, is each one of these white hash marks right here is a day of trading on the 987 tick chart on Apple. So this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you can see very, very, very nicely and very clearly there was a dramatic move up right here that coincided with this bottom. Okay, the next dip down, T2, right about in here, and you got this. First one, the first one you got this huge rally here, the next one you got this dip down here, T3 or T2, either one, because they're nice and clean. You got this move up to here, and T2, and now T3, you're in this zone. So right now it's a little bit confusing. It's not a really clear signal. You have to wait until what happens opens, whatever happens on the opening on Monday morning. But you see some are below, some are above. The longer ones are above, so there's no real clear signal here. But as it develops during the trading hours, when it gets more busy and there's more volume, the waves will become more distinct, and we'll get a better idea of whether it's just going to go, whether it can rally back up to 445 or just tank like that. We won't really know until the projection of the waves gives us notice. Okay, let's take a look at one more stock here, and it's Goldman Sachs. And Goldman Sachs looks like it tried to do a double peak right here from February to sometime in the middle of the week. But I'm looking at the weakness of the T1 right here, plus a non-confirmation of waves between on T2 between the peak that happened back in September and the peak that's happening now. So this is actually, you can see this is lower, and these are the trading waves. Now these are like the confirmation anchor waves, which are moving higher. But when the smaller waves move lower on the daily, it usually means that it's trying to basically take a breather. So this can take a breather all the way down to 140. It's at 158 right now. It can take a breather all the way down to, let me make sure that's 158. It is, I'm sorry, it's 152.98. This could take a breather down to 144. And also the waves on the right-hand chart of the 21-minute. And these, the first two are below zero. The second one, the shorter wave is below zero here, and the shorter wave on T4 is below zero, and the shorter wave on T5 is below zero. So this is good for at least 5, 6 points, and maybe 10 or 12 points to the downside. Just be careful of that one. Okay, for those of you who have not seen many of these videos, I also do for private clients. I do gold and silver, and in this I want to show you what we have captured so far. Um, we captured this move from, in the past few weeks, we have captured on the daily chart. We have captured this moved right down to this line. We captured this move, we captured this move, and on Friday we captured the move right down to this line again. So obviously I can't. It looks like it's going sideways right now. I'm waiting for the next signal. If you want to be a part of that, just get in touch with me. I am Rodney Julian. Get in touch with me at Triton Wave Guy at gmail.com, and together we can I can give you signals of which way this is going to be moving, whether it's going to be moving straight down again or whether it's going to be moving back up into resistance at 1602 or 1628. I won't know until these waves tell me which way to go. When you become a client, then I will email or text you the message on your phone so you can make a trade immediately. That's all I have for tonight. Have a great trading week. It should be very exciting this week. I'll leave this up for a minute so you can see, so you can copy this address down, tritonwaveguide@gmail.com, and gold and silver for private clients. Thank you, and good luck, and good night.